But then we have specific purpose as well, which will lead to our general purpose. And we looked at several things concerning your purpose. And just to go back over a couple of things that we did last day, we can't go over everything. We were looking at the fact that you are here in this ministry, Live Right Ministry, because you are assigned. Because we talk about assignments. Assignment is where you are, which leads to your purpose. And if you want to know what your purpose is, look at your assignment. Always ask why. Why am I here? Why am I in this family? Why am I in this workplace? Why am I in this neighborhood, this community? Why? You need to ask these questions in order for you to understand what your purpose is. And I said to you that in this particular ministry, you are assigned here. You didn't just choose here. You are here on assignment to learn. Some people is to learn and leave. Others is to learn and lead. And I say that of the elders. And so we are all here to fulfill purpose. I also told you that this ministry gets our mandate from Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 to 20, which says, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe that I have all things that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." So we're here. Our mandate is to make disciples, and you've heard a lot about disciples from First Lady. So we are making disciples, not just followers, and we're baptizing them. Come the 30th of March, we will be baptizing some of you. Some of you already been baptized last year by us. So this is our mandate. And I gave you the vision and the mission. We're not going to go over that. We also talked about Jesus understanding his assignment. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to recover the recovery of sight to the blind." That was his assignment, to set at liberty those who are oppressed and to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. That was his assignment. He had to do these things, but all these things led to his purpose. And what was Jesus' purpose? He said it. He said, "My meat or my purpose is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work." He also said, "The thief comes not but to steal, to kill, to destroy, but I have come that he might have life and that he might have it more abundantly." So his purpose was to bring life, not just life, but more abundant life. He also said, "He that committed sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of Man was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil." So his purpose was to destroy the work of the devil. And finally, he said, "Today salvation has come to this house, because he is also a son of Abraham." And then he says, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost." They're all the same singer, but he said it in different ways. So his purpose here was to bring life, to recover us, to bring us back from where we are. And he understood his purpose. And we were saying that we as creatures who were created with purpose, every one of us cannot determine what our purpose is. Neither can we change our purpose. If you are created as a man, you're created as a man for a reason, and as a woman for a reason. There's a purpose for your existence. So we don't, this thing about changing your gender, the people who change your gender, they are messing with the purposes of God. But that, we will deal with that another time. We have dealt with it already. The scripture says, "Shall the clay say to the one who has formed them, what are you making?" So we cannot determine what, or we cannot change. We can't say, "I don't like why I'm here. I want to change it. I'm going to do something different." No way. That cannot be done. So your assignment is what you have to do, where you have to do it, and even when you have to do it. That's your assignment. You are assigned to do certain things in certain places. Your purpose is why you have to do it. Why am I here? I am assigned here to do something. And what I am assigned to do leads to my purpose, the reason why I'm here. The anointing that you have on your life gives you the gifting, the ability to do it and to do it effectively. So when you find your purpose, brethren, you'll know who you are. And conversely, when you know who you are, you will find your purpose. I want to say that again. When you find your purpose, you'll know who you are. And when you know who you are, you'll find your purpose. So let's continue tonight. Anybody here like peas? Anybody here eat peas? Well, I can't see you, but I'm sure most of us like peas. But it's lentil peas, black-eyed peas. I love red beans. I don't know if red beans is considered peas or just a bean. Tonight we're going to talk about peas, but a different kind of peas. Peas that will help identify your purpose. Tonight we're going to talk about peas that will help you to identify your purpose. How do I know what I'm created to do? That's the question that is on the minds, I'm sure, of most of us. Why am I here on this earth? Yes, I'm here to glorify God, but how? Why am I in this family? Why am I in this job? Why am I not working? Why am I always, and why am I always, and why am I always? I want to give you some peas to help you to identify your specific purpose. So as we deal with the peas, I want you to think of your own situation, where you are at. So the peas we are talking about is actually the letter P. I know you know that by now. What are the peas? The first P that helps you identify your purpose. Some of them will help you identify your assignment, which leads to your purpose. Some will help you identify your purpose. The first P that will help you identify your purpose, if you're taking notes, write on the word proficient. Proficient, or you can say proficiency. Proficient. What does that mean? To be proficient is to be competent or skilled in doing or using something. To be proficient is to be competent or skilled in doing or using something. Some people can use, you watch these movies, they could use a sword good, or you could use their hands and their feet good. Or some people could, take down a car engine and put it back in a few minutes. You are competent or skilled in a particular area. You flow. You excel in a particular area. It comes natural to you. Like David, King David, he was a musician apart from being king, and he just wrote psalms, all these psalms that we love. He was proficient in it. He was competent in it. And now we are being blessed because of it. So it just comes naturally to you, like a fan. A fan just spins. That's what a fan does. It doesn't force to spin. A clock ticks. That's what a clock does. It does that naturally. Light glows. That's what light does. It's natural for light to glow. That's what being proficient means. You do it without effort. I remember some years ago, I was working on air in the night shift, and this lady came on to pray. We had prayer for the night, and it was overnight prayer. And she started to pray at 12 o'clock, and she finished at 3 o'clock, non-stop. I'm not talking about taking a pause, taking a break. I didn't stop to play music for. She just prayed for 3 straight hours that I had to go and tell my bosses and them the next day, listen, there's something about this lady, but she just flowing in prayer. We need to have her back. And so they called her back. And now she prays on the air. Those of you listening to the station every Monday morning. She's a pastor now. Her name is Marlene Villafan. I think I can call her name. She just flowed for 3 straight hours without, it seemingly without taking a breath. She was proficient. I know somebody else like that. I know a lady who prays for hours. She just prays and prays, and sometimes, you know, we we have a bedroom that we share. Well, you know who I'm talking about now. And sometimes, you know, I come out of the bedroom and she said, I'm going to pray. And I can't go back in there because every time I go, she's praying. First Lady prays for hours without effort. I can tell you that I have not been able to do that, not like her. She's proficient in it. She just flows. And I know you would believe me because you've seen her, you see how she prays. She just flows in it. She's proficient. She's competent. She's skilled in it. That's what we're talking about, proficiency. When you can do it without effort. I remember, although don't laugh at me, I can laugh at myself now. I remember sometime last year I got some coconuts. I think it was anyway, I got some coconut. And I decided to cut these coconuts. Brother Dylan, I think it was giving me the coconuts, yes, I think so. And I took out one coconut and I started to try to cut to open the coconut. Friends, I kid you not. I'm not exaggerating. It took me 45 minutes to get that coconut open. Not 45 seconds. Some people can do it in 45 seconds. I'm not talking about 4 minutes and 5 seconds. It took me 45 minutes to cut that coconut. Of course, I had a what we call a hatchet, and the hatchet was dull, so that was part of the reason. But here I might, and it seems as though I was using a hammer to pound it. It took me 45 minutes. I had to rest in between, and I couldn't do this thing. Of course, as I said, it wasn't sharp, but I don't even know if I could have done it if it was sharp because I might have been afraid to cut my hand. I wasn't proficient in that at all. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who can do things without effort. I hope you all are not laughing at me. Because anyway, you can, because I laughed at myself. But there are certain things that you're not proficient in, and you know that has nothing to do with you. But there are some people who can just flow naturally. What others find difficult to do comes naturally to you. Like an artist will tell you, sit down, and he could just sketch a portrait. I can't do that. I wish I could. There are some people who naturally, they could just get up and speak. Some of them end up being politicians. But it just flows. I remember some years ago, I went to do an interview. I might have shared this before, a radio interview. That before I was on air. Went to do this radio interview. I had just won a competition, a national competition, and they were going to interview me. And I went on the interview, and the guys, like, they didn't even know what to ask me. And so I started to speak and explain about the competition, and I conducted the interview. I did my own interview. It just flowed naturally. And they were supposed to be interviewing me. So much so that after that, I got an offer to be on a radio station, another radio station. I was 105 to do a program with a young lady. And the name of the program was Hosanna Tempo. And we did this program. And from there, I got an invitation to go out to another station to do another program. And then from there, somebody says, why don't you go and do a broadcasting course? And I went and I did the broadcasting course. And I came out on top. And the person who comes out on top, they recommend them to a radio station. And so I was recommended to another particular radio station. And that's where that's where I think I started my career, called Love 94. And then that closed down and I ended up where I am now. But I'm saying this, it just flowed naturally. I didn't know. I didn't know where I was going to end up. But it just seemed natural. And this is what you have to identify in your life. What flows naturally for you? What flows? I'm a songwriter. I write songs. I can write songs. I just, it just flows naturally. Not that it just comes easy like that. Sometimes it takes a while. It takes a day or two or a week, depends on what you're writing about. Someone asked me just 1 week ago, teach me how to write a song. And I had to tell them, I can't teach that. There are things that I can teach, but I cannot teach this. It has to flow naturally from you. I told them that. There are some children, I'm sure you've seen gifted children who can do some incredible things. Some of them are like calculators. They can calculate anything in their head in a few seconds. That's proficiency. When you do it naturally and easily, it just flows. Some people, and there are people in this ministry that we've experienced, can give. They just given, while some people might say, oh gosh, I wonder if I should give that. They just give. As long as the Lord says, do it, they do it. I'm thinking about one person in particular who I just know this person is just a giver. And she has blessed me and my family. Some people, it's just like that. It just flows naturally while other people struggle. There are some people who can just witness us. You sit down on a maxi next to them and they tell them about Jesus. Now, we all should be like that, but for some people, it just flows naturally. These are the things that point you towards your purpose. It's easy. Look at these lovely flyers that we have in the ministry. Whenever there's an event or something, Pastor Nicole sits down. She wasn't trained. She wasn't taught. She just picked that up. So all the flyers that you're seeing in the ministry is done by First Lady. And she just, sometimes I think when I'm watching, I'm saying, how you did that? How you get that here? How you make that color? How you make do that with this fun? And she just does it like that. That's proficiency. That, my friend, is what you have to sit down on. What am I proficient in? What am I doing that is easy for me to do that others will marvel? It seems like we were born to do this. Like Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. Some of you don't even know who I'm talking about. Muhammad Ali for boxing, Messi and Ronaldo for football. They just seem to have this skill. So it flows. So proficiency is the first P that will help you identify your purpose. You need to think about it. What can I do easily? It doesn't matter what it is, because sometimes we figured, well, this is too small to be, what he's talking about. But God wants to use that small thing. That's why he made you proficient in it. And there's a reason why he gave you that skill, that ability, because he wants to assign you somewhere where you can use it. You can use 2 stones to start a fire. They teach you that in Scouts and maybe Girl Guides, so I don't know. By thinking the stone together and you could start a fire. But you see a match, all you have to do is have a match and sulfur, and you strike and you get fire. What am I saying? The match was designed for that. It's proficient. It's competent. It's skilled. Yes, you could do it with 2 stones and maybe other things. But a match is designed, and you are like a match. Think about it. What are you proficient in? You want to know your purpose? That's the first thing you need to identify. What is my proficiency? I want you to write that down. I want you to apply it to yourself. I want you to think about it. What am I proficient in? And we're not just talking about skills. We're talking about things that you can do, because we'll get to the gifts Sunday as well. What am I gifted in? Because we want to talk about the gifts separately. Can I just flow in tongues? Can I just interpret dreams? You have to think, what am I proficient in? That's your first P. The second P that will help you, in fact, let me pause here. Are there any questions concerning this? I don't want anybody to jump ahead of me. Are there any questions concerning what we just shared? Are we good? Joshua, you have to help me out here.
No, Dr. Judge, no. Okay, we have no comments.
Okay. No comments and anybody questions?
Dr. Judge, right. Sorry, I was having problems with my mic, but I was saying that we have no comments, but we do have Elder Gale's hand is up.
Elder Gale.
Good night, everyone. Pastor Noel, you spoke about proficiency. That comes from doing the same thing, but okay, something that comes naturally. But some things come naturally due to repetition. How does that fit into your purpose? Because you may be, say for instance, you teaching a particular subject, that just for want of a better example at this time. And because of repetition, you become quite proficient in it. It doesn't mean that that's your purpose. That proficiency might have only come about because of repetition. How would you deal with that one, please?
And you would find that there are some people, even though they're repeating it and repeating it, are not able to do it. But you are able to become proficient in it. Now, not in all, it doesn't happen in all cases where you just get your skill like that. Sometimes it has to be developed. And it might be developed through repetition, as you say, through learning. So that skill is developed, but you are still proficient in it. And that leads you to your purpose. Once God allows you to be able to be proficient in something, I'm not saying that is your purpose. I'm saying that will help you identify your purpose. And you'll find that what you're proficient in, let me just back up a little bit. One of the things I used to say in school, and I hear my son saying it now, why do I have to do this subject? Why do I have to do that? I am, not that I'm going to use it, but I want to tell you, we use things, we don't realize that the things that we learn, like when we go to school, we may not use it directly, but it's in there. For example, when you do maths, some people, why I have to do maths? Do you know you do maths in everyday life? When you calculate things, when you measure things, all of these are because you become skilled in maths. Some subjects help you to think. This is just a by the way. Some subjects, some things that you do help you to think, so that may not be the major thing in your life. But because of the logic and what you have to apply for this particular subject, it helps you in what you are supposed to do in your proficiency or your skill. So what am I saying to answer your question? Yes, some people become proficient by repetition, yes. But that repetition is part of the learning process to bring you to your proficiency. So you don't just become proficient just like that. Yes, there are things that flow naturally. It becomes easier for you. So it might become easier for some people. I remember when I went to school, one of the subjects we had was woodworking. And not for anything could I make anything at all in the class. But there's some people, they just started to do it, and as they were taught, they became more proficient. So, and by repetition, they became more proficient. I repeated and over, and I couldn't do it. So it doesn't matter how the proficiency comes along. Once you are proficient, once you are able to do things that nobody else does, it means God has allowed you to become proficient in that because it leads to your purpose. I hope I answer your question. So it's not how you become proficient, it's the fact that you are proficient in it. The fact that you are skilled in it. The fact that you're able to do it. That is what leads you to your purpose. God has allowed it, whether it's somebody teaching you, whether it's a repetition, whatever it is. Once you become proficient, that is something that signals. Hear what I'm saying? It signals what your purpose is. And let me tell you something. You might become proficient in something, and you're able to do it. And for that reason, God would have called you into a particular place where you have to use it. I might become proficient in the same thing, but my purpose might be different to yours. My purpose might be to teach the thing. Your purpose is to use it for something. My purpose is to teach it. So we have the same skills, the same ability, but the purpose is different. But the proficiency is what guides you and leads you to your purpose. I hope you all understand what I'm saying. So you ask yourself the question, why am I skilled in this? Why did the Lord allow me to learn this thing and learn it so well? Why is it I can do this thing? There's a reason. God doesn't allow you to do things, as a child of God especially, for no reason. I didn't go to school and study Bible school to come out with the doctorate for me to say, I have a doctorate. No, it's so that I will be proficient, so that I will be able to teach. Some people go to Bible school for other reasons, and they are proficient in it. They have learned the word, and you know, whatever they do with it. But God has, for me, it is for teaching. All right, any more questions, comments, anybody? No, we moving on? The second P.
Comments and no hands.
The second P that you need to look at. Now remember, I'm giving you clues. I am not saying that if you can do something, that's your purpose. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm giving you clues. When you ask yourself these questions will lead. Why am I able to do this? There must be a reason. God allowed this for a reason. That will point you to your purpose. This is what we're doing. The P's are to help you identify your calling, your purpose. The second P is, and in fact, there are plenty of P's wrapped. There are 3 P's wrapped up in this one. Perseverance through pressure and pain. Perseverance through pressure and pain. When in spite of whatever you're facing, whatever hardship, whatever storm, you don't give up. You're doing something. You have a goal. You have a task, whatever it is. You're going towards something, and no matter what obstacles come in your way, somehow you're able to deal with it. You're able to overcome it. You're able to sidestep it. You can persevere through all the pressure. Maybe it's where you're working and you're getting all kind of problems from the boss or your co-workers, but there's something in you that tells you this is where I'm supposed to be. So you're able to put up with it. You are able to put up with it. You persevere through it all. It doesn't matter what you experience. It doesn't matter what people say, what they think, how they try to discourage you, how they ridicule you. You are able to persevere. You don't give up. You don't turn back. That is a P that gives you an idea. This is my purpose. This is leading to my purpose, or this is my purpose. Like Job. Job lost everything, but he persevered because he knew he wasn't sure. In fact, he asked God, and God never told him, but we know and understand. Like Jacob and Rachel, he worked 7 years. And he thought he was going to get Rachel, he got Leah. He had to work for 7 more years. But he persevered to the end. Like Daniel. Daniel was they had captured him, he was a slave. Do you know that? Daniel was a slave. And Daniel decided, listen, I'm not going to eat these people food, you know. So for 21 days, they didn't eat any pleasant food. 21 days. They persevered through it because they knew that is what God wanted them to do. There was a purpose for that. And do you know, part of the purpose that Daniel didn't know was for us today? Look, we are going into what we call a Daniel fast. He didn't know that. But there was a reason that God allowed Daniel and his friends to fast for 21 days, eating no pleasant food. We are benefiting from that today. From the 10th of March to the 30th of March, we are going on a Daniel fast. He persevered. He didn't give up. Let's look at Mary. I'm just calling some names. Mary could have said, no, I'd abort this child. But there was purpose birthed in Mary. Joseph could have said, listen, you know what, let me put her away. Or let me give her to the people and let them stone her. And he would have gotten ridicule from his family, his own family. Why didn't get rid of that girl? She's bringing down your name. She's bringing down the family name. But he persevered through the pressure and through the pain. And even the pain of childbirth. You know, I believe that's why men can't have babies. You know, we will give up. We say, Lord, take it after the first month or first week. I don't know how you all women handle it, but you are built for that. God builds you for your purpose. He shapes you for your purpose. That's why men just can't, we can't handle that kind of pain, women. So when you persevere through pressure and pain, it gives you a signal as to what your purpose is. Even when people ridicule you. I want to read a passage at Nehemiah chapter 6. I don't know if Joshua put it in the chat. Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 14. Could you read that, please?
One to 14 or 1 to 4?
1
Good
to
evening,
14.
family.
Good evening.
Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 14. Now it happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem, the Arabs, no, it's the Arab, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had rebuilt the wall and that there were no bricks left in it, though that at that time I had not hung the doors in the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, come, let us meet together among the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me harm. So I
You hear
sent
that, right? So hold up. They thought to do me harm. That's what he's saying. He said they were looking to hurt me. Go ahead.
So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you? But they sent me this message 4 times, and I answered them in the same manner. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me as before, the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand. In it was written, it is reported among the nations, and Geshem says, that you and the Jew plan to rebel. Therefore, according to these rumors, you are rebuilding the wall, that you may be their king. And you have also appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem, saying, there is a king in Judah. Now these matters will be reported to the king. So come, therefore, and let us consult together. Then I sent to him, saying, no such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your heart. For they all were trying to make us afraid, saying, their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will not be done. Now, therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. Afterward, I came to the house of Shemaiah, the son of Deliah, the son of Mehetabel, who was a secret informer. And he said, let us meet together in the house of God within the temple, and let us close the doors of the temple, for they are coming to kill you. Indeed, at night they will come to kill you. And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there such as I who would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. Then I perceived that God had not sent him at all, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. For this reason, he was hired, and I should be afraid and act that way and sin, so that they might have cause for an evil report, that they might reproach me. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat, according to these their works, and the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets, who would have made me afraid.
Thank you. So this is a story, Nehemiah, and they building the wall, and Tobiah and Sanballat and Gershom, they all didn't want them to build the wall, and they tried to discourage them. They were lying on them. They tried to make them, they told them that, hey, all they building the wall because all they want to be king. You're building the wall because you want to be king. But we're going to report it to the king. We're going to let the king know. And they were trying to make them afraid. And somebody came and told them, hey, these men coming to kill all you, coming to kill you, so that, he would be afraid. Now, in spite of all the threats, in spite of all the lies, Nehemiah said, you know what? I'm not giving up. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to build this wall because God says I am to rebuild this wall. This is the kind of attitude that we are supposed to have in the midst of fear. This is the kind of position we ought to adopt. He said, I'm not even going in the temple to hide. Let them do what they can. Because God is going to protect them, because I know God didn't send them. When you can persevere through pressure, whatever the pressure is, whether it's threats, whether it's direct thing that they do, when you can persevere with whatever it is, when you can say to yourself, I will not give in, I will not give up, that says to you, hey, this is what I am supposed to do. That points you towards your purpose, your calling. Nehemiah was called to do that. So when you persevere, listen, there are times when you're doing things, whatever you're doing, whatever it is God called you to do, people are going to come against you. They will even call you a false prophet. They will say, you think you're working for God? What kind of thing? What you're trying? But when you persevere, that leads to your purpose. Or maybe I should say the other way around. Because of your purpose, you are able to persevere. That's the next P. You persevere through pressure and pain. I'm looking at my time. The third P, and as I told you, I said third P, but I'm using plenty P's. The third one is when you are able to pay the price. When you are able to pay the price. What do I mean by paying the price? Well, when luxury and even safety can't be compared to what you're called to do. When you can give up where you are and whatever it is God says you have to do, whatever you have to give up, you're willing to give it up for this thing, whatever it is. Moses could have stayed in Pharaoh's court, but Moses was called to lead the people of God. He could have stayed in the palace and been a prince, but he was willing to pay the price of not being a prince and not having, everything at his beck and call. He was willing to pay the price. Peter, James, and John could have stayed in their boats catching fish, but they left their boat because there was a greater, even Jesus said, come follow me. There was a calling on their life. And their purpose had to do with that calling. We're reading now books written by Peter and James and John in the scriptures. Matthew was a tax collector, and as a tax collector, you used to make a lot of money in those days. He left all that to follow Jesus. He paid the price. And of course, they all paid the ultimate price in that they were killed. But the point is, they were willing to pay the price because they understood that their purpose was calling them. We know the story of the rich young ruler. He wasn't willing to pay the price because he had to give up all that he had. There are some people, it doesn't matter where they have to go, what they have to do, what they have to give up. They're willing to do it because they know that this thing is important. Like if those of you who are following the war in the one with Israel and whatever war it is, You see journalists in the middle of the war zone. They're covering stories. In war, their family home and they're in the midst of the war. They can get themselves killed, but there's something about this thing that says, I have to go and do it. People, everybody else would be afraid to do it. I could have been home watching it on TV, but I am there. That's the price that they pay. And they're willing to do that because that's their purpose. There are people who have given up lucrative jobs to go into the mission field. They're willing to pay the price. They're willing to let go of where they are and whatever benefits they have, because that is not their purpose. Their purpose is calling them. You pay the price for your purpose. You know how many things have been said about First Lady and myself since we started this ministry? There are things that have been said about us that we have come to our ears. But we are willing to pay the price of people talking and saying whatever they have to say, because we are fulfilling purpose. It would have been much easier to say where we were. Because I'll tell you something, it's not easy carrying the burden of responsibility for people's spiritual lives. You have to sacrifice time in prayer. You have to be fasting. I'm not just talking about the corporate fasting, personal fasting. You have to be doing counseling. And I tell you sometimes, counseling is difficult because you counsel people, you advise them, you tell them, okay, you know, this is what you should do. Let's try this and let's try that. And I like to call it homework. I give them homework, and next time they come back, did you do the homework? No, I didn't get a chance to know. Or I forget. Or I don't like how she was carrying on, so I didn't do it. And they tell you all sorts of things. And sometimes you want to pull out your hair because you're trying to help people and they're not taking your counsel, but they're coming to you for counsel. It's not easy, but it's a price that we have to pay. We have to be in the Word, studying, to come to present to you what God is saying. That's a price that has to be paid. And as Joshua usually say, he could have been watching TV or asleep or going on the beach or some kind of thing. But the price is that we have to forego all these things because we have to be in ministry. This is our calling. This is our purpose. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So you have to think, what is just something that you're willing to give up not who you are, but where you are. It's just something that's calling you, that's pulling you. Something that says, listen, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm willing to give up this that I have here now. I'm willing to give it up. It's just something in your life. I'm giving you these keys because you have to appropriate it to your life. Not long my boys and them asking me to go on the beach. One of these days, we will end up on the beach. But you know, there are some things that you have to give up. And I don't mean we're giving up going on the beach, but there are some things you have to sacrifice in order to do what God has called you to do. So I spend a lot of time in the Word. If once I'm home, I spend time in the Word. That's what I'm doing. I have to go out there, I have to work, I have to do other things. But once I'm home here, I spend the time in the Word. I am willing to pay that price because that's what God has called me to do. And of course, we know Jesus was willing to pay the ultimate price of dying for us because he knew his purpose. That was his purpose. I want to pause here. Any questions? I hope you're all taking notes, sir. We're looking at peas tonight. We're cooking peas tonight. Are we good? We moving on?
No hands and no comments, Dr. Richards.
Let me give you another P that will help point you towards your purpose. Another P. This P stands for people and praise. People and praise. What do I mean? When others depend on you to function in a particular area, people depend on you. If you weren't there, things would be chaotic. Things will be all over the place. They always come to you. They ask you. They're asking you questions. They're asking you to help. People come to you. They always want you to pray for them. They want you to pray for them. They want you to counsel them. They always coming to you, I have a problem. I had a dream, and listen, I know last time I had a dream, I come to you and you tell me what it was, and it was exactly that. And they come to you. People praise you for that. And I don't mean praise like God. As far as they're concerned, you're the woman for this, you're the man for this. They leave everybody else and come to you. Even people in authority, they leave that. You tell them, well, why are you going to talk to your pastor? No, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Because of your flowing in that area, people are drawn to you for a particular reason. That gives you a sense of what your purpose is. You attract people to your purpose. Let's look at a couple scripture verses quickly. Matthew 4, 24 and 25. Matthew 15, 30. Matthew 4, 24 and 25. Matthew 15, 30. Anybody?
Dr. Richards?
Yes.
I will, good night. I'll read Matthew 15:30.
Okay, go ahead.
And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Jesus' feet, and he healed them.
Thank you. People were just drawn to him. People came to him because he was healing. And so if Jesus, for some reason, I don't know if we could imagine, they didn't know what his purpose was, then when he saw these people coming, then he would have known. Or maybe I should say, if we didn't know what Jesus' purpose was, what his calling was, then just reading this tells us. Matthew 4:25, Matthew 4:24 and 25.
Good night. I am reading from King James Version, Matthew 4, verses 24 to 25. And his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with divers diseases and torments, and those which were possessed with devils, and those which were lunatic, and those that had the palsy, and he healed them. And there followed him great multitudes of people from Galilee, and from Decapolis, and from Jerusalem, and from Judah, and from beyond Jordan.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Welcome.
People followed him. When people follow you, when people praise you for doing something, that is a signal to you that this is your calling. It will tell you, it will lead you to identifying your purpose. First Lady, I heard your voice just now. Were you going to say something? Pastor Nicole? No?
Yes, Dr. Richards?
I heard your voice just now, so I was wondering if you were going to say something.
No, you may have heard somebody else's voice. Sorry, yeah. I was muted.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I thought I heard your voice.
That's okay. That's okay.
And what I'm supposed to know your voice, my dear. And let's read one more scripture verse, Proverbs 18:16. Proverbs 18:16. Proverbs 18:16. Anybody?
All right, Dr. Richards, I'll read it because nobody didn't take it. Yeah?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Proverbs 18:16.
18:16.
All right, and I'm reading from
from the New King James Version.
Mhm.
Emma. Emma. Are you hearing me, Dr. Richards?
Hear you now, yes.
Right. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men.
Thank you. A man's gift, your gifting, that which is in you, that which you have been gifted with, it causes you, not just people to come to you, but it brings you even before great men. Even great men would want what you have because of the gift that is placed in you. And that's your purpose. You are gifted because of your purpose. A man's gift, whatever you are gifted in, it makes room for him. It takes him places. It takes him to people. People will be drawn to him. And it brings him even before great men. When people are drawn to you, when people praise you, when people say, identify, this is the person, and they're always reaching out to you, they come to you, you're the one that they come to, that gives you a sense of what your purpose or your calling is. We're going to have to stop here today and continue on Tuesday. But let me just review the couple of P's. One, when you're proficient, competent, or skilled in using something, that gives you an idea. When you can persevere through pressure and pain, another reason. When you're willing to pay the price, whatever it is, whatever price it takes to get where you have to go, where you sense that calling of God, that is another clue. And number 4, when people are drawn to you, or when people praise you, that gives you a sense of what your purpose is. We're going to stop here for this evening. We're going to continue with the other P's on Tuesday. God bless you richly. I thank you for being here tonight. I don't know if anyone was new. If you are new, welcome to the family, the Live Right family. God richly bless you. We love you. We love you dearly. And we want you to have a wonderful weekend. We are back here on Monday for prayer. And Tuesday, of course, for Bible study. Please share the link. Please invite people. I gave you at the beginning of the year a challenge to invite 12 people. That's one person per month, 12 people. How are you doing with that? How are you doing with the books of the Bible? How are you doing with 2 Timothy chapter 3? We'll talk about that one of these days, okay? So God bless you. I'm handing you back over to Minister Joshua.